All right.
We're Facebook Live.
We are. Let's do it, man.
Hey, guys.
This is always fun. Always be
Awesome.
closing. Always
be fucking closing.
Always be closing. And it's okay to cuss a little bit? Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, yeah, it's up to you.
That's our style. I mean, that's how...
We're just real people.
We're real.
We're just real.
Real. What you see is what you get.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Lyndon, come on in if you want. You okay?
I think he's on the phone still.
Oh, okay.
So we've got Facebook Live here.
Okay.
Facebook. Got my partner here, Lyndon.
Perfect. Did you tag me as well?
Tagged you.
Okay. Perfect.
Here in Eddie Oberoi's office.
Let's do it.
And we've got our podcast recording, got our mics on.
I love it.
Did you get tagged?
I did. I'm just going to go ahead and accept it. Add to profile. Boom.
Hell
there
yeah.
You go. Okay. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So for you guys that don't know our relationship, we're both top producing real estate agents. I left full-time sales in 2018. You're still crushing it. And you've really just gotten so much better and grown your business so much more than just 3 or 4 or 5 years ago when we started hanging out.
Yeah.
And so I started my podcast in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
Recession-Proof Real Estate Investing.
Yeah.
And I got bored with it.
Yes.
Because you can only talk about underwriting multifamily deals so much until it's the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
But what doesn't get boring to me is when I interview people like you who are performing at such a high level. And that's what's really fun. And what really blew my mind in 2020 was talking to Mike Darda, Ed Kaminsky, Brian Burnett, Eddie, and hearing what you were doing in the pandemic. And it blew my mind because the overwhelming thing I heard was, I'm still going to fucking hit my goals.
That's right.
I just have to change what I'm doing. I have to double my prospecting. I have to talk to more people. And so I'm now rebranding my podcast.
Love it. We're always evolving. So that's a good thing.
Always.
I mean, we can't be doing the same thing
You can't.
for 10 years.
And yeah, you have to get better.
You have to get better.
Mike Ferry talks about upgrading.
Yes. Upgrade everything about yourself.
So I'm upgrading my podcast. And what we want to do is really get into your brain and figure out how have you become the successful, top producing, number one agent in your area? And really, how did it start?
Yeah. Well, basically, man, I mean, it's a typical immigrant story, right? I came from India in 1991, 16 years old. I couldn't even speak the language.
Okay.
I landed in Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City.
No
kidding.
Yeah, Salt Lake City. And, I was forced to work at a restaurant where I was mopping floors and cleaning toilets while I saw other teenagers on dates having their burgers and shakes.
Yeah.
And it pissed the shit out of me.
Wait, where did you work? What was the name of the restaurant?
It was Regal Burgers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you know that place?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was right next to Kearns High School.
So wait, what year would that have been?
That would be 91.
I lived in North Salt Lake in 91.
Oh,
I grew up in Boise later, but
okay.
We lived in North Salt
You
Lake
never
in
know.
91.
Maybe you were at that
Holy
restaurant.
cow. Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But what it did, I think that was the best thing that ever happened to me because it really ignited a fire in my belly.
Okay.
Right? I'm like, okay, I need to just kick some ass. I need to improve myself.
Right.
I'm going to learn the language. I'm going to become a public speaker. I'm going to write books. And it just something happened to me, which still I carry it with me. Right.
Right.
So here we are talking. Here I am in the Silicon Valley, arguably one of the most competitive market in the world.
Absolutely.
Right? And here I am doing well. And I think the part of the reason is when you are committed to self-growth, when you're committed to self-development,
Mm-hmm.
when you're committed to improving yourself, no matter what's happening in the world, no matter what's happening with the rates, no matter what's happening with the economy, no matter what's happening with the drama around you with all the people, because, when you are living anywhere, you are going to see a lot of distractions.
Right.
The goal is to put your blindfolds on and know what you have to do every day. Get up in the morning, do your routine, work out, show up to work, show up on time, make your calls. If you do that year after year after year, it's going to happen.
It's a compound effect.
It's a compound effect. A lot of times people see this, I love this analogy, people see this big tree, like huge trunk, and people are like, oh my gosh, wow, that's a big tree. But they don't know what that tree went through.
Right.
It was a plant one time. It faced a lot of storms and earthquakes or whatever the heck over the years.
Dry
Now
summers,
it's got a big trunk, and the people just focus. So yeah, somebody can look at you or me like, oh my gosh, these guys are natural, but they don't know the storms that we faced.
You're a 15, 20, 30-year overnight success is what you are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so yeah, you're natural born salesperson. You get that.
You didn't have to work very hard for this, right?
Yeah.
So Salt Lake City, you're 16, cleaning toilets. You see all these other people out on dates, spending money. You're servicing, giving them their hamburgers and really working for a 16-year-old. That's a tough, to see other people having fun.
Yeah.
So that lit a fire under you. What would you tell your younger self? Or let's go with that question. What would you tell your younger self and to help maybe ignite that fire more or avoid some of the mistakes you made early on?
I actually wouldn't change a thing.
I love that.
Yeah, I wouldn't change a thing because I think that's what makes you who you are. Okay. One thing I would do, because I've been working my butt off ever since I was 16. One thing I've learned, now I'm reading books like It's Who, Not How, 10X is Easier Than 2X, Tim Ferriss, 4-Hour Work Week. I'm exposed to all these books. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you don't actually need to work 14 hours a day.
Right.
You can actually do a lot more damage by being intense.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the gym and work out 2 hours, or you can be just intense for 30 minutes in and out and
Absolutely.
do more damage.
It's called being effective.
So that's one thing I'm learning right now, how to be more effective, how to 10X my life.
Yeah.
And make it easier than 2X.
I love that.
Yeah.
And we just got done talking to your team.
Yes.
And one of the things you said is just, what do you need to do to make money? And that's what I always told my team members, or when I ran a team, is what are the 3 things that you have to do today to make money? You can probably get that done by noon.
Yes. Yeah. If you do things right, I mean, discipline creates freedom, right?
Yeah.
We hear that all the time. A lot of people shy away from discipline, or getting up in the morning is hard, but at the same time, discipline creates freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And we're, if you do this job right, yeah, you can be done by noon. You can go home.
Yeah.
But chances are you're not going to go home because you're having so much fun. If you're somebody like you or I, we love, to me, if I'm meeting a client, if I'm showing properties, or if I have a listing appointment, for me, that's fun.
Right.
Right now, what I'm doing, I mean, I've been up since 4:45 in the morning. I haven't had a chance to even take a coffee break, but it's been so much fun. It's like I got my adrenaline rush going. I'm like excited because one thing I love saying is our mind is a drunk monkey. Whoever came up with that, Matthew Ferry. Drunk monkey, right? As soon as you get up, your drunk monkey is like, oh,
it's cold outside.
It's hot.
The news.
Life sucks. Your wife yelled at you. Your kids yell at you. But they're your friends. Drama, all that bullshit.
Your friends don't show up for dinner.
Friends don't show up. Like crazy stuff, right? And what I love to do is you want to put a leash on that drunk monkey. Right?
Absolutely.
You want to put a leash on that drunk monkey. Otherwise, that drunk monkey is going to vomit all over you all day long.
It's going to wreck your house.
And you're still in bed. It's 8 a.m. and you're still in bed listening to the drunk monkey.
Yeah.
That how effed up your life is.
Yeah. You don't lay in bed to 8 a.m.
No. Yeah, the whole idea is to get up and have all these little rituals and don't even let that monkey talk to you. Like, no, listen, I'm not your bitch. You're my bitch.
There you go.
You listen, okay? I am going to do what I have to do, and you're not going to talk to me because it's going to talk all over you. Oh, she said this.
It's going to ruin your day.
He said this. Yep. Drama. And we are attracted to drama. It's funny, right? Human beings, we are driving on a freeway. We will not notice a beautiful sunset and birds flying in the air. Nobody will slow down. But you see an accident, everybody wants to slow down because we're attracted to negativity.
That's why the news makes so much money.
And that's our mind.
They sell negative BS.
That's why a lot of people just stuck there in bed. Oh, I need 2 hours to just freshen up. I need an hour for my tea.
Yep.
Because you're listening to that drunk monkey.
Well, tell us about your book. Because a lot of people, I mean, we know you're a bestseller. So congrats.
Amazon bestseller. I made it. Thank you.
You're writing another book, but tell us about your book. What's the title?
Okay. The title is Wake the F Up.
Wake the F Up.
Wake the F Up. And I got inspired to write this book when I was working on building my team. Mm-hmm. And, I'm running into all these beautiful people, amazing personalities. They have everything they got. They have more than what I had when I came to this country.
Yeah.
They speak the language. They got the personality. They got everything, right? but they're stuck in their rut. They're stuck in their heads for whatever reason.
Sure.
So it inspired me to write a book. I'm like, hey, let me just tell you my story and let me just put it, in writing. And I'm not even sure if some of them even read the book, but that's okay. You know what I mean? The whole point was for them to get inspired. Like, okay, here's a guy coming from India, can't even speak the language, and here I am talking to you, doing these big things. Anybody can do it.
Anybody can do it.
Only difference is you just got to work hard.
You got to wake up.
You got to wake up.
Go to work.
90% of the people don't want to do that. And then you're like, 90% of people fail in this business. Well, it's very simple. I mean, show me your schedule. I'll show you your future. Right?
I love that.
Yeah.
Show me your schedule. I'll show you your future.
Yeah.
I just did breath work with a retired title officer, title company owner in Utah. And he said during 2007, 2008, he grew while other companies were going out of business. And the number one thing that he attributes to his success was at 5:27 in the morning, he woke up. By 5:30, his shoes were on and he was headed to the office.
That's right.
So he was working for 2, 3, 4 hours before his competition was even awake.
Yep.
Which is exactly what you do.
Yeah.
Tell people to wake the F up.
Wake up. Wake up.
Get to work. And, that's a quote. I'm going to have to write that down. Tell me your habits. Show me your habits. I'll show you your future.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And so tell me a little bit about your production currently, because a lot of our listeners know who you are. They don't know how much you actually do, which is a huge amount of real estate in one of the most competitive real estate markets in the world. I mean, there's more realtors here than houses, I'm pretty sure.
Many. We have, last time I checked, we had about 50,000 agents.
Wow.
In the Bay Area. That's a town in Utah.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah. So definitely there's a lot of competition. And my production, when I was a sole agent just by myself, I would close about 50 transactions a year.
Yeah.
50, every year after year.
But average sales price?
Average sales price like 1.2 million, and you're still doing 7 figures and all that
crazy.
Good stuff. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So what happened past few years, I was able to attract some really good team members, and now my production is about 100 units a year.
That's awesome.
Okay, 100 units a year. 2021 was an anomaly. That was a crazy year. Right, that was
a huge year.
That was a huge year. We ended up closing close to 200 million in volume.
Wow,
almost 130 transactions.
So hold on, let me just make sure they heard that.
Yeah,
how much volume?
200 million.
200 million with a capital M.
Yeah, the gross.
Gross sales.
Gross sales.
That's huge.
That's huge. But that year was crazy. I mean, I don't know the exact number, but I think we did about 6.5 million transactions in the U.S. Right now we're doing about 4.5, I think.
Right.
So, but now last year was about 100. This year, I think it'll end up around 90 or so. Mm-hmm. But number of transactions has dropped quite a bit.
Down by 32%.
32%. In some counties, it's 40%.
Yeah.
So can you imagine let's say half the people stop going to restaurants. Like, can you imagine how many restaurants were shut down?
That's crazy.
Quite a few. And we're seeing that right now. We're seeing that with mortgage companies. We're seeing that with real estate companies and franchise. There's a lot of stuff happening.
Right.
Because it's not easy when half the business is not even available.
Right.
But like you said, if you work hard and if you do what you're supposed to be doing, we're very fortunate that we're still doing well.
You're doing fantastic. And what's interesting is, I knew about your production 2020, 2021. I followed how much you're doing. You had a breakout year in 2021, 200 million.
Yeah.
There's agents that didn't do 20 million.
Yeah.
And they're, And that's the point I want to make. What you built was systems and processes and habits.
That's right.
And that allowed you to take advantage of a crazy market. It wasn't a crazy market.
Yes.
It was Eddie taking advantage of an opportunity that arose.
Yes.
Because there were agents in your market here that didn't do 20 million in volume.
Yeah. I mean, and the funny thing is, in any market, a lot of times you hear, oh, yeah, 2021 was a great year. Oh, 2004, 5 were great years. Mm-hmm. But I know during those years, people were quitting.
Struggling. Not making money.
Yeah. So I think every year is a tough year. Mm-hmm. And every year is a great year.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How you look at it. Is it glass half empty or half full? Yeah. Right? It's a competitive field. Sure. It's a competitive market. And no matter what you're doing, you can running Apple computers or you can be doing Facebook. No matter what you're doing, it's competitive. Look at Elon Musk. He's like pushed against the wall right now.
Right.
And he's like, okay, what do I need to do?
Right.
Things are always going to be competitive. There's no such thing as, oh, I have arrived. You've never arrived.
Nope.
If you think you've arrived, it's a down.
You're hanging out with the wrong people. Yeah.
You never arrived.
Right.
Yeah. So I think again, going back to our point, I loved what you were saying before our podcast that you are more focused on your daily goals, your daily routines, which I love.
The activities.
Yeah, I have this vision board behind me.
I love this.
But I cannot be looking at that all the time and not work.
Right.
I cannot be drinking my coffee. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to be a multi-millionaire.
You can't only dream.
You cannot only dream. You got to look at your routines like, okay, what do I need to do? And focus more on routines. So I love what you said this morning. Yeah.
Well, and I love hearing about all of what you're doing, your team, you're pushing them really hard to work. Let's say I'm a newly licensed agent, because that's who's probably going to be listening to this a lot. I mean, you inspire everyone, but a new agent, they want to know, what do I need to do? And I got in the business in 2010, and I just wanted to know, what do I need to do to make $1 million a year?
Yeah.
What do I, and Mike Ferry breaks it down. A lot of top producers like you break it down very simple. What are like 3 things that a new agent or a struggling agent in this market can do to produce?
I think the number one thing is protecting your mindset, and what David Goggins talks about, developing a callous mindset. Because if you have a good mindset,
how do you do that?
It's you're going to be okay.
Reading the best books.
Yeah, and you do that by doing this. We talked about this in the meeting. Like, surround yourself with people who are just ready to go. They're
Absolutely.
I love that quote by Rumi. Hang out with people who are going to fan your flames.
I love that.
I mean, fan your flames. People are going to like you. I got a little flame in my belly. You're like putting fuel in it. Like, let's put you on fire. Like,
hell yeah.
Get excited, get motivated. So I think surrounding yourself with the right kind of people, and listening to good books, and having a really solid morning routine, because your mornings are crucial. And it doesn't matter if you got to have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Doesn't matter. Yeah. But you got to protect that 30, 60 minutes. Put a leash on that drunk monkey that we were talking about. Yep. And let's go.
Wake
right?
the F up and get
going. Number one thing I would say, work on your mindset. And the funny thing is, even people like you and I go through that. I mean, I can be vulnerable. Like yesterday, I was thinking, every year when it's towards the end of the year and it's January, I get this anxiety. It's like, oh my gosh. Karen Bernardi talks about it too, right? Yeah. January 4th, she calls Mike Ferry like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do it again.
Right.
It creates, you become anxious because you start from zero.
Right.
We don't have a job working at, Apple Computers, making $500,000 a year or
whatever.
No
one's paying you a salary.
No one is paying a salary. We got to start all over again. So it creates so I was going through that anxiety a little bit, but then I snapped out of it. Because again, mindset. I started listening to good books. I came across this quote, action conquers fear. I'm like, okay, let's roll up our sleeves. Let's go. You know what I mean? So yes, number one thing is working on your mindset. Number 2, if you want to be successful in this business, this is a contact sport. You're not James Bond 007.
Yeah.
You're not a secret agent.
There you go.
You got to talk to people. Talk to people.
A lot.
Be out there, talk to a lot of people. Right? And be genuine about it. There's a difference between...
And that's what I love about you, Eddie. I'm going to interrupt you. For those of you guys that spend time with Eddie, you really do care about people, and you fan people's flames, and you're really, really good at it.
Oh, thank you.
If someone were to ask me, why is Eddie so successful? He's extremely genuine, and he's extremely fun to be around because you fan people's flames. People feel better when they're around you.
Yeah, that's something, and that's something that I've learned over the years. You want to be genuine. You want to be kind. And when you do that, when you come from that space, you're not being a car salesman. You know what they talk about car salespeople? They get a lot of bad rap. Commission bread. There's like, oh, can I help you?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you want? Like, you can just say, oh, get away from me because all you want is money.
Right.
And I hate that because you don't need to do that.
Right.
As a true salesperson, your job is to provide value. If they work with you, great. If they don't work with you, God bless you.
Yeah.
Not being attached.
Right.
Not being attached.
But providing value.
Providing value.
And being actually interested in the person.
Exactly.
How can you help them?
If you're providing a lot of value, I think you're going to be doing this for a long, long time. If you're trying to be clever, if you're trying to make that extra quick buck, You may get lucky for a year or two, but it's not going to last.
Yeah. If your only enjoyment is going to the closing table and cashing the check,
Yeah.
you're probably not going to last.
It's not going to. You're not going to last.
It's about building relationships.
People are going to
and
see
helping.
through your facade, and they're going to see that bullshit. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? So you got to be genuine. You got to be out there. You got to be sincere, right? I tell my team that when you talk to your clients, talk to them as if you're talking to your mother, sister, brother. How would you talk to them?
That's huge.
You know what? How would you react? Would you push them? Would you give a shit if your mom bought a house through you or not?
Right.
You wouldn't. Like, hey, mom, here's the house, and I think you should get this because of this inspection and these comps. Or, mom, I know you like this house, but I don't want you to get it because it has a lot of termite issues or whatever, right?
Yep.
When you talk to your clients like that, I think it's going to be super attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge. And you know, I started working probably in 2013, 14 with a lot of investors selling duplexes, fourplexes. And I got a reputation of kind of being the guy that would kill sales. I would say, hey, I don't want you to buy that duplex, Eddie, because it's not going to cash flow.
It's not going to cash flow.
Or it has a roof. I know I'm not a roof inspector, but I'm pretty sure you're going to have to spend about 20 grand on that roof within the next year.
Yeah.
And I would kill sales for myself.
Yeah.
I'd talk myself out of sales.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, these investors would start coming back to me saying, you were right. I bought it and it didn't cash flow.
Yeah.
My next purchase, I'm going to go with you, Sam.
There you go.
And without trying, just because I'm so black and white and I don't like to sell people bad product, I built a following of investors and people who said,
exactly.
at least I can trust Sam.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I've done business with you, and I know, I'm sure your audience knows that you do a lot of syndications. I've invested so much money with you. I think we've done like 9.
You're in the $1 million club. There's only a few of you, Eddie. So congrats, by the way. I was going to bring it up. You've invested well over $1 million with us in our syndications.
But the funny thing is, you know, when somebody, like, I've had some friends who have invested with you as well, and I swear to God, I don't even look at your statements. I don't even look, because I know you. I know you're real. I know you're looking out for me. I'm not worried. If I have a question for somebody else when they're concerned, I'm like, okay, let me talk to Sam. Or if I have any tax question, I'll call you.
Sure.
But I'm not worried about that investment because I know you're not operating from that angle.
Right.
You don't have an agenda.
Right.
You're not here for a quick buck. We're human beings. Can you make mistakes? Of course. Can I make mistakes? Of course.
The market can be down.
Market can be, that's all fine and dandy, but I know you're not out there to get me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's why I keep investing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I think you're a really good example, Eddie, of there's so many agents that make big money like you do in this business, and they spend all of it. And you're a really good example of stacking away your cash so that in the future, you don't have to get up at, 4 a.m. if you don't want to in 30 years, unless you want to, but you don't have to.
You don't have to. Right.
And so tell me a little bit about why you invest. I know you have other investments. You're investing a lot of money. I mean, what is your end goal? Do you want to do this till you're 80? Do you want to have financial freedom, but still be doing it? I mean, what is really your driver? Because I see dream boards.
My end goal is just actually, I was talking to one of my friends and I was like, man, these are my goals. I want to give back. I want to do this. And she was like, hey, you're already doing it. So my end goals, I think I'm loving this journey already.
I love that.
So where is it going to lead me? Like all these buildings or whatever, but I write it down. I'm going to donate the majority of it to charities.
That's awesome.
Because I don't want to leave shit for my kids. I mean, you look around you, there's so many stories that kids are fighting over they can't wait for you to die.
Yeah.
In some cases, so they can inherit. Fuck that shit. And if they're two things. If they're good kids, they don't need your money. Number one. And if they're bad kids, you can leave them millions, they're going to go bankrupt. So what are you doing this for?
I love that.
So I don't have an end goal, financial freedom and all that because I love what I do. I'm not going to be, let's say, if somebody gives me $1 billion, I'm still going to be doing the same thing. I'm still going to be working because how many margaritas can you have? How many steaks can you have?
I love that.
You know what I mean? Like it gets old.
So you're enjoying the journey.
I'm loving it.
And you're not just working so you can quit.
Yes.
Which I think is a really weird, and I love that answer because there's so many people who just feel like, I just have to do this so I can be done.
I know a lot
65.
of good friends who want to quit and who want to get out of production.
And then they're dead or they just go downhill.
Yeah.
And I think enjoying the journey is huge.
Oh, it's great.
That's really
you're learning
important.
something new every day.
Yeah.
You're meeting people, you're learning. One thing I like about this business is you don't know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
You don't know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
We met Mike Ferry, changed our lives, right?
Right.
Who's the next Mike Ferry we're going to meet? You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? So it's not about the destination. Yeah, we cannot eat this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We cannot eat it. Big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody gives you $1 billion, you're going to buy, 100 more buildings. Who gives a shit?
Right.
You're not going to take it with you.
Yeah.
The Egyptians tried taking them with them. They tried. It
They
didn't
tried
work.
really hard.
It didn't work.
I love that.
Yeah.
And, I was going to ask you, and this goes along with your question, the journey. I have 2 kids. My girlfriend is 4, so we have 6, Brady Bunch together.
Love it.
And I'm trying to tone down how many hours I work because I want to spend time with the kids. My son's 6, my daughter's 10. I've got 8 more years with my daughter till she's probably off to college. And I really want to teach them hard work and compassion and all these things, but also quality time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want with them. So there's a lot of top producing people that, want to hear what you do for business, but also I know you're a great dad. What 1 or 2 lessons do you really want for your children? Because I know you don't want to leave them an inheritance. You want them to learn to work hard and do it for themselves. What are 1 or 2 things that, as a parent, you feel is really important?
I'm all about quotes. One of my favorite quotes is, how does it go? Don't tell your kids what to do. Do it and watch them. Let them watch you see how you do it. If that makes any sense. I know.
Yeah, let them watch you and learn how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't tell them to eat right. Don't tell them to work out. Don't tell them to work hard. Don't tell them to study hard. Just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Let them watch you.
I love that.
You know what I mean? You're a hypocrite if you're going to be like, oh, eat right, kid. And you're eating a pizza every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think you just have to let them observe because they're observing. They're watching. They're watching.
Yep.
And then and chances are they're getting something out of it.
Yeah. I got in trouble. I was pretty good about my daughter not cursing around her. I try not to, but my son, I got called by the office, by the school a couple years ago, and they said he's calling everything a fucker.
No. Yeah,
like,
he's
well,
watching.
He definitely learned that from me.
He's watching you.
So we'd have kids watch everything.
Yeah.
And
they want to be like you. You know what I mean? They want to be like you.
Well, what's really cool is my 10-year-old, I asked her, I said, hey, we do a daddy-daughter date once or twice a month. And I said, what do you want to do? She's like, well, you've been working out really hard, Dad. Your muscles are getting big. I want to go to the gym with you. I want to work out. I was like, holy shit, what?
Yeah.
So now my 10-year-old just wants to go to the gym with me.
Yeah.
Because she wants to be strong too, and she wants to work out.
Yeah. No, my son, he's been watching me cook ever since he was a kid, and we have the best time together. We cook together, and
that's awesome.
We have a great time. And my daughter, she's studying hard. She's a hard worker.
That's
I know she started working when she was 16.
Okay.
And I kid you not, she would rather work than hanging out with her friends.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she's got a
16.
fire.
Yeah. But I'm not saying she's all perfect. She's always hanging out with her friends. She's doing her thing. But when it comes to work, like, nope, I'm not gonna, compromise. I mean, I have had to work around her schedule. Hey, sweetie, we're going to Mexico. Well, I cannot go on this date. I'm sorry, Dad. Can you work around it? So so it's funny that she's like that, which I really love.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And, my biggest fear is that I'm going to make all this money, have all these things for my kids. Your kids don't have your story. They can't say, hey, I was an immigrant, $100 in my pocket working at a restaurant. So you really have to work hard to give them a good example and make sure you don't spoil them too much.
That's right.
That's what I'm working on right now.
Yeah. No, you want to be careful. Yes, of course.
But I think that's probably the best answer, though, is they're going to watch you. They're going to watch you work.
Yeah.
And it's really good for them to know what you do.
Yeah. And it's I really feel that, the next generation is kind of soft.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It is, why are we having, just look around you, right? Restaurants, they're begging for the right kind of people. Like, come on, we're hiring.
Yeah.
Come work for us.
Yeah.
Or even if you travel, remember 20 years ago when you were traveling, you had smiley faces, even if you went to McDonald's, people were smiling. Hey, how can I help you, sir? You don't see that anymore. Everyone is pissed.
Yeah.
And they don't want to work hard.
What you have.
Yeah, they don't want to work. They're living in that Instagram and just a bunch of show off. I hate that show off part. Like, dude, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Don't give me that shit.
Right.
Bottom line is, you just have to be genuine, and you just kind of have to understand that nothing is going to come easy. You got to work your ass off in the beginning.
Right.
You cannot be thinking, Tim Ferriss' 4-hour work week. You cannot start working 4 hours a week from the get-go. You got to pay your dues.
Yeah. It's funny. Lyndon and I had an employee who he wanted to be CEO.
Okay.
And he wanted me to train him to replace me as CEO.
Interesting. Yeah.
I was like, this is your first job, buddy. You're 21.
That's the thing.
Or 20, he's 23. Just out of the Navy. Great kid, hard worker. I said, you need to grind though. You're going to have to, you have to pay your dues.
You got to work.
Because with that comes experience, becomes appreciation, comes how do I handle these situations?
Yeah. If you look at most of the billionaires and millionaires in the United States or in the world, 90% of them, they were self-made.
Yeah. Absolutely.
90% of them.
Absolutely.
And on the other hand, a lot of kids who were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, they went bankrupt because they didn't know how to manage.
Absolutely. Well, Eddie, tell me this. So you're writing another book.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I have fallen in love with this career. I just love it. And initially, I'll be honest, I didn't like it. I didn't like sales when I got in the business because I did it. I'll be upfront with you. I was broke.
Okay.
I had student loan, I had credit card debt, and I saw my friends making money in real estate. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Let me give it a shot. And I don't think I was a salesperson, but one thing that worked for me, I was a hard worker.
Okay.
So when you work hard, things are going to happen. So I gave myself 6 months, and it just worked.
Nice.
So I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. What was your question?
No, that's fine. You fell in love with the business.
I fell in love with the business. Then why am I writing a book? Okay.
Yep.
So now I'm like, it's literally like a science, right? If you think about it, it's all about communication, how you communicate with people, how to build a brand, how do you talk to people, how do you develop relationships, how do you maintain relationships, right? Yeah. How to communicate with strangers, how do you break that ice? Mm-hmm. So it's fascinating. And we can take this not in sales, because if somebody tells you that they're not salespeople, well, you're selling all the time. You can be a doctor, you can be a
You got to sell your boyfriend, your girlfriend on
like,
where to go to dinner.
Honey, I want to go to have Chinese food. No, I want to have Indian. You're selling.
Yeah.
You're closing them on, no, honey, tonight we're going to have Indian food or whatever the hell, right? So we're deep down inside, we're salespeople, right? The best salespeople are the kids, right? They're always, they're
persistent.
Asking. They're persistent. Can I get it? Can I get it? Why?
Yep.
Same thing, right?
Yep.
So the reason why I'm writing my second book is just I feel like I've learned so much, and I'm learning the art of communication. And the book is about ABC, right? Which is always be closing, and the name of the book is going to be always be effing closing.
Always be effing closing.
Always be effing closing. We're working on it with my buddy Kamal, who you met, obviously. Right. Yes. So yeah, just exciting. Like,
that's
why
awesome.
the hell not? It's exciting. I don't give a shit if the books become bestsellers or if they generate any revenues. That's not the point. The point is, are you having fun?
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of fun.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, and you know this person. I launched my podcast in 2020 to help my investors. I said, I want to know what happened in the downturn, and I'm going to interview all these, big time investors in real estate. I'm going to hear their stories and see what they saw so that we don't make the same mistakes. And that was my goal. I have never looked at how many downloads I have. Yeah. Never once.
Exactly. It doesn't matter.
I don't.
Yeah.
And I didn't consider myself a great podcast host. I'm not Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And then I got a call from Kajal.
Yeah.
And or a text. And she said, oh my gosh, this podcast interview inspired me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what are you talking about? I had to go look and see what one had been released.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm not doing enough investing. And she invested through her 401k.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm so excited. We're investing with you. And now she's in one of the Cleveland deals with 3 or 4 years. She's probably going to double her money when it sells.
Yes.
But she said, a few things on the podcast really inspired me, Sam. Thank you. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a few of those calls throughout the years or text messages. And that's what's really nice is when, I'm not a top podcast host. I don't know how many downloads I get.
Yeah.
Your book is an Amazon bestseller. But what's really cool is it's helping people wake the F up.
I know personally a few people who were, depressed, who were not feeling good. Because see, nobody teaches you in school about routines and time management and how to think big and how to be positive and Napoleon Hills and, there's so many amazing Earl Nightingale and Jim Rohn, amazing authors.
None of that's in school.
Yeah, none of that. I think if they taught that in school, we would see different kind of product out there.
Absolutely.
So I think you nailed it. Gratification. I get a lot of gratification from just seeing some of my team members just flourishing.
Yeah.
Going 180. They were a different person a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Now they're like, like different. And I love seeing that change. And I feel like I played just a very tiny role in it. It's just a sense of pride and accomplishment.
Absolutely.
It just feels good. So yeah, going back to your point, I don't give a shit how many books are sold or how many likes I get on Facebook. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, seek people I don't know. What I want to do is before I do that, I want to maintain the relationships I already have with people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's why I'm not big on getting 10,000 likes because I don't even know who they are.
Sure.
I would rather share my stuff with the people I already know, right? And build on that.
That's huge.
The funny thing is, I just thought about this. If you look at companies like Amazon or Facebook or Apple, right? Forget about that. Even if you look at religions, Christianity, Islam, or whatever, right? It started with a group. It started with like 2, 3, 4 members.
Right.
If you look at it. It started with 2, 3, 4 members, then it got to 10, then it got to 20, then it got to 30, then it blew up, right?
Right.
And that's what you need. If you're building a brand, if you're building a company, or if you're doing anything, you need those tribe members. And we call it COI, right?
The raving fans.
Yeah, the raving fans. If you're not even taking care of the people you already know, who gives a shit about strangers?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Start with the people you already know. Do they like you? And God bless if they don't, because you cannot please everyone, right?
Yeah.
But if you're genuine and if you're sincere, and if they are genuine and sincere, chances are they're going to like you, right? And stop with that bullshit of, who said, he said, she said crap, and who invited you and who didn't, and all the drama and all the bullshit that we hear.
Yep.
Like, who cares?
I love that.
Yeah.
Eddie, that's probably, that's a nugget. I like to point out nuggets when I interview people.
Yeah.
In a world where everyone's worried about how many likes they get.
Yeah.
I had a TikTok blow up. It got like 1.5 million views. And I don't know any of those people.
Yeah.
And what I think makes you a really good person, but also a realtor, team leader, and what also drives me is we like helping people.
That's right.
I love helping people invest.
Yeah.
I'm such a nerd. I just want to know, can I help Eddie take this $1 million and double it in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah.
What deals do I need? And when you sell a house, it's not about, hey, here, Kelly Solberg?
Yeah. Yeah.
So same thing. She loves helping. One of her niches is older people who need to move out of their home and go to a retirement home.
Yeah.
She has a full service brokerage set up specifically for that.
That's right.
She loves helping people. Eddie, you love helping your team members and also your clients.
That's right.
There's a huge amount of satisfaction from not just closing the deal, but helping people buy, sell a home, move, have an easy, smooth, lower stress transaction.
That's right.
And I think that's huge. And you help your friends a lot too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, why not start with people you already know? I mean, what's the point of, like, I have this conversation with my team, like, when you meet somebody at an open house or you get a lead, what do you do with that lead? What do you do with that person? And if you're doing the same thing as you're doing with the people you already know, well, it's not going to go anywhere.
Sure.
Because if people you already know, they're not supporting you, they're not your raving fans, then what are we doing here?
Yeah. Change what you're doing.
Yes. So again, going back to being real, being genuine, coming from the place of providing value, I think that goes a long way.
That's huge. Eddie, we're about out of time. What I usually like to ask people is and you've probably got too many to name, 1 or 2 books that have made the biggest difference. Maybe this year, maybe your life, but
oh gosh, I would say,
I know you read a ton.
Yeah, I would say I have a clear answer. So when 2007-8 happened, the financial crisis, I was bankrupt.
Okay.
I lost everything.
Wow.
Lost everything. My son was a couple months old, and I was like, my gosh, what the heck is happening? Because
Yeah.
everybody was losing money left and right.
Right.
In fact, the more money you had, the more you lost, right?
Right.
I was bankrupt. And I got into a little funk for a few months.
Sure.
When I got into a little depression. I was drinking. I was not really, I couldn't, because there was no business for it. Remember that few months, it was like everything was shut.
Nothing was happening.
Nothing was happening. It was like, oh my gosh, what the heck? And I stayed there for a few months. I gained a lot of weight. Not a lot of weight, but I gained weight. I wrote about that in my book.
Yeah.
But then I ran into this book called The Miracle Morning. Okay. And
I thought that might be the one.
Yeah, The Miracle Morning. And that really, I was super attracted towards the concept of getting up, and not just getting up and doing these rituals of meditating and scribing and working out and breathing exercises and visualization. So that's how I started. That book changed my life.
I love that.
I would highly, highly recommend that book.
That's an amazing book.
That's an amazing
So just
book.
to repeat what you just said for our listeners, The Miracle Morning. And in that book, he talks about getting up, meditating, thinking about your goals, breathing exercises, exercising, drinking water when you wake up.
Yeah.
So that does so much for your
Self-love,
brain.
taking care of yourself.
Taking care of yourself.
In other words, putting a leash on that drunk monkey.
Absolutely. I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
But I was to the office. We just told your team earlier.
Yeah.
I would work out to the gym. I had $1,000 accountability with my broker.
Yes. Yep.
I had to be to the gym by 5:30, snap a picture of the gym clock by 5:30 is $1,000.
Yeah.
Another $1,000 accountability to be in the office by 7 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how you do it.
Sounds like the same thing as what worked for you.
Yeah. Again, accountability. I have a lot of you nailed it. You want to have accountability partners, because you can read a book and you can get inspired, just like everybody's like, hey, January 1st, I'm going to go to the gym. But you're going to last a week.
Right.
Unless you have accountability. See?
Absolutely.
Unless you,
I am not a morning person.
Not accountability with just anyone. Because, everybody, oh, yeah, we're going to work out. Yeah. But they're flakers.
And you got to have painful accountability.
You need some go-getters who are going to be like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Real accountability. If I don't show up, I'll give you $100.
I wrote a check to my broker.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even like I would have to give. He already had the check.
Yeah.
And he didn't give a shit. He's like, I'm excited to crash that check.
Yeah.
I hope you fail.
Same. Yeah. I have so many accountability partners. Same thing. Like gratitudes, TM meditation, getting up in the morning, Miracle Morning.
You send out gratitude. Literally, I get an email from you every night.
Yeah. Twice a day, every morning.
Every morning and every night.
Yep.
Here's what I'm grateful for.
Yep.
That's part of your ritual.
And that's part of developing that callous mindset, right?
Yeah.
In the morning you get up, you like, before your drunk monkey even talks to you,
Yep.
like, don't you dare.
It's hard to feel shitty if you're grateful.
If you're grateful.
You can't do both.
If you're grateful, you're not fearful.
Yep.
Yep.
I love that.
Yes.
Eddie, we're out of time.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank
man.
you, brother.
This has been
always
awesome.
a pleasure.
Appreciate
All right.
you.
Take care.